Welcome, everyone. We're in the fourth podcast here I'm with Dylan Ice, the current lead brewer, as part of our Legends, 30 years of Fitger's Brewhouse. And boy, Dylan is he's a legend. He's stepped into some pretty big boots, as we've seen in past podcasts. And I'll tell you what, as the owner, I can't be more proud of Dylan and his team and what they're doing with A, carrying on the traditions, B, being innovative, and C, keeping an eye on what the future looks like in this ever-changing artistic business. But let's start with number one, Dylan. So what does it feel like to kind of step into the shoes of some of the legends that came out of the old Fitger's Brewhouse?
Thanks, Rod. Thanks for the nice introduction. I mean, it was intimidating, really. I mean, look at the history that this place has, now going on 30 years. I came in about 5-6 years ago, took over after a little bit of tumult in the beer scene here, and kind of just taking what Mike and Dave and Frank and all those guys before me, what they've built, and kind of just modernizing them, but keeping them true to our style and our brand, and keeping our local ingredients when we can. Just finding what worked here for us and just pushing forward, but while still innovating a little bit.
So you think about where you came from, right? And so you came from this, you can speak to the macro brewery you came from, and then you came into this kind of brewery. And I joke when I saw you guys making the pumpkin ale and you have that bent paddle and you're just freaking swearing at it because the pumpkin's stuck in the mash tun. And I go, where's the computer to turn this on? And you're like, there's no computer here, dude. We're doing this by hand still. We have this old fashioned way of doing it. And while we have some modernization to our equipment, you're still like the true artisan. But coming from you came from to what this is, how do you speak to the artisanship of this current brewery and this is not to slam anyone, but just this idea of, real true artisanship.
No, it's truly authentic here.
Yeah.
And I struggled with it right away. Yeah. I think I was used to nice, shiny, new, expensive equipment.
Push button equipment.
And now I find myself more of a mechanic than I am a brewer.
Slapping the big veins off the grains of off from your shoulders.
Yeah, dumping bag by bag, stirring by hand still. Just everything is a lot more manual here. And I think that speaks to just kind of, again, the legacy of this place and how cool it is to work here.
So the mash tun is wood clad. That's all that remains from the original purchase that Mike Hoops and I did some 28 years ago.
Oh,
so there you go. That's the only piece of equipment there. So
it still works great.
It still works great. So you've carried on the tradition. You've been so respectful to the past brewers. Now here we are. It's time to innovate. And so you've done some pretty interesting things. So can you speak to a couple thoughts and ideas you've had as far as innovation and staying ahead of the trends, or so to speak, on the craft beer industry?
Of course. So like a lot of classic styles we bring back, although it doesn't sound like we're innovating, It is unusual to see a lot of traditional stuff in craft breweries. So we always have some old German lagers, some sour beers, hazies, of course. Fitger's Natural, great example. Yeah. We partnered up with the Fitgers on the lake and created like a real true classic beer. And although
in the trend of the 1880s, in the spirit of the 1886 original Fitger's beer, kind of cool.
And although that's not a real innovative thing, it's a cool way to just kind of like look back on it. Pay homage to the history of the place. But as for like moving forward and innovating, we put out our THC beverage. It's available in, apricot, blood orange, and cherry. Yep. Ranging anywhere from like seltzer, very little sweetness, all the way up to a soda. And so we're kind of touching the whole market on that.
And that was fun. So Dylan and I decided we're going to do THCs. And Dylan, how do you do it? I don't know. Dylan, you're like the brewer. I've never done that. And so we touched bases with an old personal trainer of mine, Ryan Appleby, and down in Minneapolis. And Dylan and I went down and started just playing chemistry with Ryan. And we're having a good time down there trying the different THC blends. And we added some unique ingredients. And between the three of us, I think we came up with some pretty kick-ass taste profiles. And it kind of speaks to your innovation and your kind of open-mindedness to try new things. Because quite often, it's quite normal for a lot of artisans to be kind of not stuck in their ways, but they have a way of doing things that is not flexible. And your willingness to step out and try this and even be open to some of a third party's opinions with that was pretty cool. And as a result, It's kind of neat to see that product go.
I think we've made some cool products that way, and it's impossible to just like sit back and just wait and see things happen around you. You kind of have to step in, and I don't know if it's going to work, but we got to try it.
That's right.
And so I think that just speaks well to like innovation. And I mean, of course, there's always going to be new beers coming down the line, and so check back for that. But it's hard to pinpoint what I want to do in 6 months. You never know.
Right.
It's kind of just the nature of the industry.
If I could say one thing that hasn't changed in 30 years with brewers is their need to have plumbing skills, electrical skills, refrigeration skills. Oh yeah, and glycol skills, beer making skills, human relations skills, maybe a little bit about music, and maybe a little bit about how to fix TVs. But I'm looking at your dirty legs right now, and what are you doing this morning, man?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the head brewer is about 5% making beer, really, and the rest
not even fixing broken shit.
Managing crabby brewers, fixing glycol lines, running new conduit. Yeah, a lot of electrical, plumbing, a little bit of everything. And I think that kind of comes back to like, well, it's broken. I need it today, so I'm gonna try to fix it. And if I can't, then maybe we'll call somebody. But yeah, you just open something up and you go for it. I don't know.
That's the best. So we're opening up a new place in the Oliver Inn, and Dylan's been involved in some of the mechanical side of that. So we're going to be looking forward to some unique beers at the Oliver Inn. We got the Raskeller. Can you tell us about, you and Mike Hoops have talked, connected back and forth on the Petroglyph Porter.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
Yeah, actually, we'll be brewing that next week for a January release. That's going to be really cool.
The original gangster.
Yeah, I talked to Mike. We kind of dug up an old recipe that I found here. So we're taking some aspects of it, but we have to modernize it. Some of the stuff that they used 30 years ago really aren't around. So it'll be Petroglyph in nature, right? It'll just be as best as we can get for it, and it'll be a good beer. I don't think we often make bad ones.
So yeah, Mike was mentioning that in his podcast, how that was the original beer, and how it came to be was an error in the yeast. The machine burnt the yeast out, and they had to. The first beer probably should have been a golden ale or something you can make in your basement. He's stuck making a dark beer, and it turned out pretty good. And so,
awesome.
So now here is the elite brewer with Dylan Ice popping on a Petroglyph Porter. So moving forward, we're celebrating a whole year of 30 years of Brewhouse. What can our viewers kind of look forward to coming up next year? Kind of what's a little bit different, or homage to the past beers.
No, for sure. We'll try to be putting out at least one old new beer every month. So we'll start with the Petroglyph. I think we'll see the Sasquatch Scotch Ale come in February.
And Frank made that.
I don't know.
Okay,
it might be a Frank one. Yeah, I'm not actually sure on that.
Okay.
And so I think, without giving too much away, I think we'll kind of see some recurring old styles that maybe somebody has been like, "Hey, you ever make that?" Whatever. I don't want to give anything away, but you still make that beer, and it's like, "No, we don't really, but maybe we'll put it out this year." And so I think you'll see. I'm hoping to do at least a dozen, if not up to 20 different old recipes, bring some history back. And of course, you'll still see some new stuff that we're putting out. So
let's keep it fresh. So we've talked about the history of the place. We've talked about innovation, and we talked a little about the future. So Dylan, if you were to kind of summarize your experience here at the Fitger's Brewhouse, coming in from absorbing that 30 years of transitional history, what's kind of been your rich experience here?
I have really attached myself to the people here. We've got a lot of good people that have worked here for a really long time. I think we'll see some more interviews with them. Ryan, Brock, Sally, Jamie, Alley, all of those really great people. And so seeing them here for so long, there's got to be something good about the place, right? And so I think that once I got over that, I was like, oh yeah, shit, we're here. This is good. This is for a good reason. And
now married, and you had a little Oscar running around, and now you're a Duluthian.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy decision for my wife and I to move back. We both went to college here in Duluth, and then we lived in Minneapolis for 5 years, and we liked it. It was the perfect age. We were in our early 20s, but I think we knew we wanted to start a family here. And so, I have a 1-year-old now, our good little family here in Duluth, and I don't see us leaving anytime soon.
Dylan Ice, 30 years, and he's now carrying the torch of the legends of the Brewhouse. I really appreciate you, man. It's been fun to watch the transition, and everyone loves your beer.
Thanks,
Dylan.